Kane, spectacular general, and all of the brilliant military minds involved in this attack.
Really?
With all of that being said, this cannot continue. There will be either peace or there will be tragedy for Iran far greater than we have witnessed over the last 8 days. Remember, there are many targets left. Tonight's was the most difficult of them all, by far, and perhaps the most lethal. But if peace does not come quickly, we will go after those other targets with precision, speed, and skill. Most of them can be taken out in a...
Everybody remember, he's going to thank God, and it's going to be great.
Oh.
There's no military in the world that could have done what we did tonight, not even close. There has never been a military that could do what took place just a little while ago.
We literally made those bombs,
much
so yeah,
different.
we invented them.
Can I just point out Rubio in the background? Rubio actually seems to be the only one actually going, oh, Jesus Christ, you've just made like my next 24 hours hell.
No, if you look, both Vance and Hegseth are shooting daggers every now and then and side eyes. No, all three of the people behind him look so uncomfortable. None of them want to be here.
Well, JD in particular has got that what the actual fuck look on his face.
You can see when Trump says Pete Hegseth's name that Pete Hegseth takes like a big gulp, like you can see it coming up.
When are we gonna get the blame for this? When are we gonna be the ones left holding the bag for all this?
I'm so sick of him walking around using the fucking American flag as a pocket square. Like, if that doesn't represent what this fucking administration thinks about America and the Constitution, I don't know what does. There is a reason why you don't have an American flag handkerchief. It's because you would never blow your fucking nose in it.
Oh,
yeah.
And he just wears it around.
Kind of looks like Stan Smith's outfit from American Dad.
Tomorrow, General Kane, Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth will have a press conference at 8 a.m. at the Pentagon. And I want to just thank everybody, and in particular, God. I want to just say we love you, God, and we love our great military. Protect them. God bless the Middle East. God bless Israel, and God bless America. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Jesus Christ.
And then the awkward walkout.
Jesus Christ.
Okay.
Firing Iran.
When he walks up and when he walks out, just imagine the music from Casino's ending.
Well, let's let Bowler Hatman in here. Morning, Ollie.
Good
morning. What? So in the UK at the moment, it's like peak summer. So bright as all hell this morning. It's only 5:30. I wake up and I think, oh, I'll just put on like a YouTube stream. Maybe put some ASMR on. Maybe this will help me sleep. Oh wow. The Bin podcast is live streaming. What's going on? And then I turn it on and there's just there's Stephanie here. Hi, nice to meet you. Going,
Hi,
we've just bombed Iran, and I'm like, what?
But why?
Why? There is like I've said this I don't know how many times. Right, in 2016, not 2016. I can't remember when Obama signed the deal. Sorry, it's like really early morning here for me, so my brain is not in gear yet. But when Obama signed that deal, you had Republicans of like even like hardcore war hawk Republicans going, yeah, there's with this deal signed, there is no reason to go to war with Iran. And then Trump ripped it up, and I'm just like,
peak diplomacy. Some would say.
Yeah,
we got something for nothing.
Why?
Something literally for nothing. We unfroze money that we had froze, and then they said, "Okay, we'll stop." Yep. Sounds like a good fucking deal to me. Yeah, but hey, this is cheaper, I guess.
Gave everything the Americans wanted. They had full access to go and do, site visits organized by the UN. The UN would be doing that. They'd be looking all of that. And it's just like, you rip that all up.
Wait, has it been 2 weeks? Like when you're in the Trump timeline, shit does kind of travel weird.
Days.
Like, no, man, maybe it was 2 weeks and we just don't remember it. I don't know. Time is a flat circle.
I'm telling you, like with the speed of information whenever this guy is in office, it is impossible for me to keep up with basically anything with how much is coming out minute by minute, right?
Yeah, I just want to point out something because One Angry Pagan just brought up this in the chat as well. I really do hope Starmer keeps out of this. I hope Starmer.
No, yes, your
stays
best
away
friend.
I
from
don't know.
this.
I don't know if there's a way for Starmer to keep out of it on account of the fact that if the B2s flew from Diego Garcia, that's UK territory.
Yeah.
That's a problem. That there's and while the narrative has been that the flight of B2s out of Diego Garcia that happened yesterday or the day before, I can't remember which, but I did see that, and I sort of said, "Uh-oh, that's a problem."
The Shal in the chat says Carney and the rest of Parliament must come out and denounce the U.S. in the strongest terms. Sanctions should be considered as well against the U.S. I couldn't be mad at it. I couldn't be mad at it.
And Diego and that's another. This is another piece of nuance here. It's like if we did this without the UK's assent, all the basing rights in Diego are at risk. Or they're going to have to make a decision. And by the way, is that a Lancaster Rose?
No, Lancaster.
Wow.
Yeah, them's fighting words. Them's fighting
I'm
words.
sorry. Okay, so it's a York Rose.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Yeah.
Okay, so now
Right
we're
from the heart
talking
of
about
Yorkshire.
we're talking about rivalries that go back to the fucking 14th century.
Speaking of bombs,
All right.
okay. Well, we played
Sorry.
his words again. We'll reread this too because we'll probably just do that on like a 15-minute basis or whatever. So people are asking, well, how can he do this without Congress and da 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 da? If you guys remember 9/11, the AUMF stands for the Authorization for Use of Military Force. It's a specific type of joint resolution passed by the United States Congress, most notably the one passed on September 18, 2001 in response to the September 11th attacks. This 2001 AUMF authorized the president to use military force against those responsible for the attacks and those who harbored them. So the Patriot Act. So he has 30 days to do what he has to do, and then he has to go out in front of Congress and explain why he should have been able to do what he did. But yeah, so who knows what? Yeah, Congress is probably not going to.
Donald
do
isn't the
anything.
guy who really pays attention to law very carefully.
Oh, this-
Yeah,
we
I
got-
think he's going to use the justification that Israel's been using that, oh, they were about to make a nuclear bomb, and that's why we had to go after them.
yeah.
But then this opens up a massive can of worms for all kinds of other like preemptive strikes for other countries to use for justifications. Then, like, oh, they were about to attack us, or they were doing something we didn't like militarily, so we had to attack them. This once again destroys our entire like post World War II consensus that we've lived with for years.
all
This
the
is
norms. Yeah.
Terrifying. Yeah, this is terrifying. You want to know the only silver lining to this? Like, because there is a slight silver lining to this.
Oh, here we go.
I think Ukraine might have gotten a big reprieve because obviously Iran is like one of their number one like weapon suppliers of like drones, missiles. Well, now Iran's not going to be, shall we say, too keen on selling those missiles and drones to Ukraine when they're going to be probably needing them themselves to defend themselves with. So, you know,
Well, you know who Iran's friends with?
Exactly, Russia.
Yeah, you know. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Like, I mean-
Russia. They're
But
not
what's
gonna
Russia
be
got
keen
to
on
give
selling.
to Iran?
Steph, you are too far away. You have to wait until you're back in front of the camera.
But
Well,
the whole other
you mean
argument is
I'm sure, Bowler Hatman. I'm sure you meant Russia because it's like Russia is the prime recipient of the low tech
Yeah.
drone stuff that Iran produces, and all of those bombs are landing on Ukraine. So yeah, Ukraine's going to be a beneficiary here.
Yep.
But
yeah, it's
Iran is, I'm sure, counting on Russia stepping up to.
yeah. But what's Russia got to use? Because all their stuff is literally like currently lined around Ukraine. They haven't got anything to
Nuclear
send to Iran.
weapons.
There we
Russia
go.
is the other nuclear power here. Iran never was. It is a nuclear power. And if they want to go there, if they find it in their interest, in their national interest to go there, they will.
Yep.
And that means what for us?
I love that how, you know, because you look at what World War One, World War Two, you know, these wars were really all just like separate wars that all just got, you know, all mangled together into like one gigantic conflict. And you're like, we've got like the Ukraine war, right? We've now got the Iran war. Could we have, I don't know, China deciding this is the time to go for Taiwan?
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. Like everything was already like the dominoes were already leaning a little bit.
Yeah.
All like multiple dominoes were already on a bit of an angle. So this doesn't help, to say the least.
If there's a historical analogy, it is August 1914. If there is any sort of historical analogy, I think it's close to that, where global hegemons are experiencing the decline of empire and all of that. And I think it's not a pleasant time to be alive.
Yep.
It's like we had all green lights in front of us, and they're like, no, crank the wheel to the left and run into the guardrail. It's like, but why? But why? We could have, like, we were probably like, what, 30, 40 years away from Star Trek? We could have been there. We could have got there. You know what I mean? We could have got the Galactic Federation going or the United Federation of Planets. We could have got some sort of like galactic thing going, get some spaceships.
Hey,
tool around, go
always
see
remember,
Jupiter.
remember Star Trek, the Star Trek timeline, World War III had happened.
Oh my God, we are doing
That's
Star Trek,
true.
but we're just
That
in the
is
fucking
true.
shitty part. God damn. This is like I always like hated, well, would have hated if I was like born in like the first age or the second age of like Lord of the Rings. Nah, dude, put me in like the fourth or fifth age after all the ring shit, the dragons, all that shit is gone and done with. Of course, we had to be fucking born in Smaug area,
Yep.
Arena era. Like, this sucks.
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
this is another thing.
wanna
If you
go-
look at- Oh, that's right. Yeah.
if you want to go Lord of the Rings, it's like no one wants to live in these times, but it's our task to deal with what we've got to deal with here in the here and now, which is why I'm amused by the people in the chat saying, "Well, Obama and blah blah blah." It's like you're not even dealing with the present. What's happening now is what you should be concerned about, but you're so goddamn got so much of a hair across your ass about seeing what just happened that you're not even talking about what just happened. You want to go back to, well, you know, what just happened doesn't matter because so and so did something blah 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 worse. You're cutting off consideration of what's the proceed. Where do we go from here? I don't want to know where we go from where we stood in 2016. I want to know where we go from here.
Yeah.
And
Consequences.
until people are willing
Find
to
out.
talk about that, then just lose me with that bullshit.
Yeah.
I mean, speaking of like people and consequences, have you guys seen the letter that the Abandon Harris movement put out like a couple of days ago?
Mm-mm.
Oh my word! I have like zero sympathy for those people who basically said, "Yeah, we think Trump's going to be a better president," and I'm like, given what's just happened this morning, how on earth do you think this is better? Like, how on earth could have Harris got us to this situation? Like, I could not think to live in a worse timeline. And now they're threatening to use their quote power of the movement to not vote for Harris, to then not vote for Trump. But Trump was the guy who won when those people didn't vote for Harris. And then they also claimed that they're the ones who cost Harris the White House in that letter. So I'm like, which is again a very dubious claim to make at best. But oh wow.
I said this a bit earlier, but there isn't much Joe Biden could have done differently that Republicans wouldn't have, like, as far as foreign policy wise. He gave them everything they want. He gave Israel every single bomb they asked for. He turned the other way when all the war crime videos started coming out. They've had a right winger doing foreign policy for them for the last 4 years. So bringing up anyone else when your modus operandi has been followed and your steps have been followed for the last 8 years, like, what are you talking about? He continued on with what Trump was talking about. He did the same thing. It's the same.
Mm-hmm.
The American people recognize that. So Harris saying, "Oh well, I wouldn't have done anything different than Joe Biden." There you go. That's why people got pissed, because, like, well, we don't want you to do that. We don't want that.
Biden was bad in many ways for this, but we knew that he was holding Israel back. And I know that's like, oh, he didn't hold Israel back at all. He did curb a lot of their worser instincts. He was saying you can't do that behind the scenes. So
I think it's
for all a lot of stuff Biden bears for that, he was, holding Israel back. The second you put Trump in, Trump didn't care. Trump just went, you go do what you want, Israel. You go crazy.
None of us here can say what Joe Biden or Kamala Harris, were they in power right now, would do in this situation. My own personal inclination is to think they probably wouldn't have bombed Iran. And I think that that's the salient question. What do we do now? Was that a wise decision or not? Well, I suppose we might all agree here on this panel that it wasn't a good decision. But now that it's been taken, what do we do with it? And for all of the people in the chat that are making the argument that this could have happened or that could have happened, I'm more concerned about what just happened. Never mind what the might have beens are like. Because right now, we have to deal with the fact that a nation of 90 million people has just been attacked by us, and they're going to respond. And we're going to have to deal with the consequences of that response. And whoever's going to deal with those consequences is us. It's not going to be Kamala Harris, and it's not going to be Joe Biden. It's going to be us.
Go ahead, Jen.
All right, I just didn't want to derail this while y'all were striking, while the thoughts were coming in. But I just wanted to talk a little bit about at least the initial response from the international community on this. And I just found an article from MSN about Australia's response. It seems like there's divisiveness in the country.
You want to put it in the chat, in the private chat, and then I'll pull up on screen?
Yeah, I'm gonna shoot a link.
Okay. And we will read along with you.
Brilliant.
And hello, all you new people. How y'all doing? Like the video, subscribe, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Do all that good stuff. We're talking about real issues, so I hate to have to shill. So just push the button so I don't have to say it. It makes it awkward in times like these. But we do have bills to pay. Yeah, Triton's got it.
Push the goddamn button! Push the goddamn button!
Mark, why aren't you in here?
I did it. I knew he was going to yell at me. Okay, let me replay that. Pull this up. Okay. Ooh.
Oh my God, have you seen the photos from Trump in the Situation Room, sat with his MAGA hat on?
Oh, God.
It's insane.
With a ball cap on. Okay, let's see here. Australia has called for a de-escalation as the situation in the Middle East continues to devolve following Donald Trump's decision to bomb Iran. The U.S. military struck 3 Iranian nuclear facilities on Sunday morning, AEEST. In a move, the American president declared a spectacular military success. We'll see about that, won't we? But the conflict can continue to worsen, as Mr. Trump warned. There will be peace, or there will be tragedy for Iran greater than we have witnessed over the last 8 days. The Australian government has consistently pushed for dialogue and diplomacy since Israel first launched strikes on Iran in mid-June, and has continued to do so in the aftermath of Mr. Trump's announcement. And then there's his bullshit thing. Where's their response? Oh, there's a video. Let's see. What y'all talking about, Australia? Unmute.
Tomorrow, it could mean 2 weeks. He's always had a habit of pushing things out for 2 weeks that he doesn't necessarily want to make a decision on at that time. But obviously something like this has been in train for, potentially the last 24 hours and now it's happened. The news we woke to this morning, of course, in Australia was that the United States had moved those B-2 bombers into the region. We were talking a couple of hours ago about whether that was perhaps a sort of negotiating move, a show of strength to indicate to Iran that the United States was serious as perhaps a way of getting talks towards a ceasefire or another nuclear deal to end a nuclear program underway. It now looks as though it was those B-2 bombers were moving there to do what they've just done. I think this. We're also talking this morning about potential unforeseen circumstances, but repercussions. There'll also be foreseen repercussions. The first one is from the beginning. Iran was saying that if the United States entered this conflict, whether it was through missile strikes or even defending Israel from incoming missiles, let alone this, that Iran would respond, and it would respond against United States military assets in the region. There are a lot of United States military assets in the region. There are even more now. It's not just the B-2 bombers that have been moved in. There's now a second aircraft carrier group that has been moved in. Lots of refueling aircraft, lots of fighter aircraft have been moved in. But that's...
Well, we just told all the aircraft carriers and jets and planes and shit. We just said, hey, don't need gas because we need to do this. So we didn't need to fill up all them motherfuckers to take them all the way across the globe.
It's on top of the thousands of American military personnel who are permanently stationed there at bases that are dotted all over the Gulf and around the Middle East. They're now targets.
I mean, a perilous decision for the US, not just because of that Iranian or the prospect of Iranian retaliation, but also Donald Trump personally, right? He won the White House on this idea that he'd get America out of these conflicts. He scoffed at the idea of American interventionism. Sounds like the complete opposite is happening now. He's being dragged further in to these conflicts.
Yep, and people would be aware that this debate, this divide has been going inside the conservative side of American politics over the past couple of days. I'm sure people have seen that clip of Tucker Carlson and Ted Cruz essentially representing the old guard
Oh boy, did we watch that? That was
Oh,
fantastic.
I cannot wait. I cannot wait to see what the MAGA crowd does for this, because he is right. He is right. They were pushing this, that Trump was going to be the zero war president. And well, here you go, guys. You know, here you go.
That only took 6 months.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure about all this. I mean, I think Bannon was a shocker to me, coming out as forthrightly as he did. And maybe that's true, but I just think these guys are I think the rank and file is too bought into hate. As long as there's someone they can hate on, they're gonna be getting their jollies. And so now they've got the Iranians to hate on. So I think they'll just carry on. I think that the vast majority of the MAGA base just doesn't care. Just point us at somebody to despise, and we'll just go ahead and do that. And never mind nuance. They're not really big on nuance, as far as I can tell.
Yeah, you know what this is also going to lead? More nuclear proliferation.
Yay!
Absolutely.
Back in 2016,
Absolutely.
North Korea went, you won't attack us because we've got long-range ballistic missiles, we've got nuclear missiles. They will go to diplomacy. And yeah, Trump went and, kissed Kim Jong's, ring. And now
love letters back and forth.
Yeah. And now this has happened in Iran. It's basically just shown that if you are a country that wants to do some, I don't know, maybe you want to take over a smaller country and you don't want America getting involved, well, just have yourself a nuclear weapon and, you might be all right.
Duke of Bread typed in a little bit ago. Right-wing politics is a cult. You cannot placate them. They do not actually want anything but endless suffering for outgroups and victory for themselves. Well said. Well placed. That's it. They'll never be happy because they don't want to be happy. They just want more people unhappy. That's the difference.
Exactly. Thank you for being the soul of wit, aka employing brevity. That's basically what I'm saying. It's like they don't care. The MAGA base, they don't think deeply. They don't worry about international consequences. They don't play that game. They just want somebody to focus their bile against, and now they got another source.
It really is funny though that MAGA and the Republican Party right now truly is the manifestation of misery loves company.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's all it is, But the reason why I sent that article is I just wanted to talk about both the opposition leader and the spokesman for Foreign Affairs joint statement that they said the world can never accept a nuclear-armed Iranian regime, and today the United States military has taken proactive action to ensure that we will never need to. And then the Green Party leader, let me see, not the Green Party, the Greens leader, Larissa Waters said that this was like terrifying and catastrophic escalation. You cannot bomb your way to peace. Australia must always work for peace and de-escalation. Australia is not powerless, and we cannot be involved in another brutal war in the Middle East. And I bring this up because, I don't think it's talked about enough the way that like American conservative MAGAism has infested Australia. I don't know.
Oh yeah, same with the UK.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same
I
with
don't know how
Canada.
much
In
y'all
parts of
know
Canada.
it.
Yeah.
All English-speaking countries have also been infected with the Trump virus.
Yeah.
I know, but I don't think it's talked about enough in terms of like when we think of Australia,
Oh, they've been
Any of us
down a
think of
dark path
Australia.
for a while.
Yeah.
They had their own Boris Johnson. Like they're
Yeah.
yeah, they've been doing it.
Yeah, and I'm basically I'm agreeing with the comment in chat here that is that the Trump base
Oh no, we got a McKinnon.
will distance itself from the Steve Bannons and the Tucker Carlsons before they'll distance themselves from Trump. They're just, it's the cult of personality thing. I think,
I just love how everyone gets to have their own type of conservative ideology. It's like having your own little Pokemon. Everyone has a unique one, and you just follow and do everything that your guy says. You got the Tucker Carlson fans who are diehard Tucker Carlson fans. You got the Elon boys. You have the Tesla boys.
So instead of the love for catching them all to bind everyone together to play the same game, it's just the love of hating others.
Exactly.
Power to the people.
right.
Says in the chat, why shouldn't Iran have nuclear weapons when Russia does, America does, Israel does, Pakistan does, India does? I understand why they want to join the party. It doesn't mean I approve. I understand. And this is Son David. Hi, I looked your name up. I disagree to some extent. I think the MAGA base are so invested in Trump, a candidate designed specifically to seduce them. They are willing to follow him off a cliff, then admit they are wrong.
That's the comment I was agreeing with.
Yeah, here's the problem, though. There is no climb up from the cliff mechanism. You know what I mean? So as everyone on the other side of the congressional aisle is like, yo, I get that you're happy you won, but you do understand that none of us will eat if you do this. And it's like, you're just mad because you lost. I'm like, no, that's our food money. Like, you probably shouldn't waste that.
Yeah.
You're so woke. You're triggered. And it's like, are you okay? I got you. It's like, is he all right? And they're just like frothing at the mouth because they're so proud of themselves that they fucking voted. Newsflash, everybody votes. You know what I mean? But they like, I voted and I won something, so now we're in charge. It's like, yeah. You know what being in charge means? Dealing with this dealing with all this bullshit. It's work. It's not a fucking beauty pageant where you get to be like fucking or a homecoming king, and then and now all of the fucking vending machines will have Coke product. Like, that's not. He won a job. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's the suckiest job you could ever want. That's why a lot of people who would be great presidents never run for fucking politics, because it's a pain in the dick. No one wants to do this shit. It fucking sucks. You have to argue with fucking idiots all fucking day. You have to fucking go meet all these foreign dignitaries and pretend to give a shit about what they talk about. Meanwhile, Medicare needs more money. This needs more money. Unless you just go in there and say, I'm going to evaporate all of the stuff that keeps your life convenient and safe and legal. Like I don't know if you guys are aware, all of these. Oh, I'm not going to bed yet. Phone. All of these things all of these like pillars of American society that he's destroying intentionally will not come back overnight. So even when he's gone, even when your MAGA glow has lessened, we're still going to be cleaning this shit up. Like, you're still going to be wanting things to be good in your community, your municipality, wherever the fuck you are. You're going to want things to be normal again. It is never going to go back. And that's what we were trying to warn you guys. It will never go back to the way that it was before. If you guys remember flying on planes in like 2000 or 95 and all those, it will never be like that again in this country.
That's
never.
right.
That time period, that era has passed. So the era in which you have competent leadership in this country is waning. It's damn near gone already, because everyone's a fucking coward now, and they're scared about somebody putting money in an election to run against you. But this kind of shit where we're dealing with fucking strikes on countries that have complicated relationships with their neighbors and complicated enemy relationships who we're kind of enemies with, but not. He has not read a fucking military briefing in 10 years. All that shit that was in
Right.
Mar-a-Lago, all those files, you know what that shit was? Crack reporting over here at the Ben Podcast. Thank you very much, Mikey family. I'm gonna toot my own horn for that. Where is it? Because I fucking called it. He does, like, every morning at 7 or 8 a.m. Somebody's job is to walk into that fucking office with several binders of reports and to brief him on what happened while he went to sleep last night. He ignored that shit for 4 fucking years. Meanwhile, those same diligent employees had to keep making that report, and them reports just started stacking up. And then he just started inviting everybody and their mama down to Mar-a-Lago. And now Russia's our best friend. And now we'll never do anything against Russia. And Israel can have whatever they want. Like, if y'all are still on the same bullshit where you imagine that he is doing anything to help you, you're wrong. And I'm here to tell you. I'm here to snap you out of it. Like, if this is not indication enough, he never gave a shit about any of the stuff that he was talking about. There you go. We told you. But now that you've heard the I told you so, get the fuck up and come over here and help us unfuck this. Because we could all just leave and leave you with the fucked up shit, which is kind of where I am right now. I don't know about the rest of the Americans, but I'm kind of on the thing like, fucking Japan sounds great. Japan sounds amazing right now.
I mean,
Well, and we're watching this in the side chat with some people who are basically saying, "What are you talking about? This is great," and it's blah blah blah. But none of these people are thinking about, well, what happens tomorrow? This guy went ahead and did this, but what happens tomorrow? Are you going to be happy when when petroleum futures go to shit? Are you going to be happy when the entire fucking country basically says this is a really dumb idea? It's like, probably not going to be, but still, you're just going to be sitting there sniping away and saying, well, Kamala, and well, Bernie, and well, this, well, that. It's like, no, get real. These kinds of things, when you go out and kill people, it has consequences. You can't insult the dignity of 90 million people and expect all of them to basically say, well, it was actually good for the United States of America to come bomb the fuck out of us.
Yeah,
I'm on
That's
America's side.
silly.
Yeah, I think this all goes to what you've just touched on, the fact that, the Republicans, especially Trump, we've seen it over here as well, that, we conservatives might be bad, but, those Democrats, those crafty Democrats, they're like even worse. And I'm like, what do you want about? We've just managed to get rid of 14 years of, conservative government. And quite frankly, even though I do disagree with some of the stuff that Starmer and the current Labour government have done, I'll tell you what, I am 100 times more confident in this government because they are competent, they are doing their jobs. And if you look at when we had the Tory government in, they were every single day something was going wrong, something was happening, and it was the fault they were making. And now we've got this Labour government in, and that's what you need to do. You need to now organize, push out any sort of bad Democrats, go into the Democrat Party, take it over, start fighting. You are going to lose. Initially, you will lose battles, but the war will be worth winning because you will get better Democrats, you will get better elected representatives, and it all starts right at a ground level. All starts right at a ground level. You've got to win, your local town halls right all the way up. If you can start there, build there, might take some time, but it'll be worth it. Much more worth it when you do that.
We got 2 British pounds from Power to the People with Graham Price. Just want to show a bit of support. Keep it up. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Air horns. And this from Sun David. The reason Americans have a cavalier attitude to war is the fact that they haven't experienced the horror of it on their home soil for quite some time. We've never experienced it on our home soil. Not a foreign war. Not since we became the U.S.
Not
Even
since the War of 1812.
I mean, what's it called? I mean, even Pearl Harbor, like Hawaii wasn't even a state yet. We were just occupying Hawaii and put a military base there. So that wasn't even American soil because it wasn't a state yet. We took over that country, the country of Hawaii afterwards, the kingdom there.
9/11 would be kind of a taste, right?
I mean, kind of. That was one attack. My bad. I meant Moon Chris. I was talking about Moon Chris. What you talking about?
Yeah.
Moon Chris. But I do have that that article you pulled up. You talked about, Jen. For immediate release, a message to President Donald J. Trump and Vice President J.D. Jonathan Donald Vance from the Abandon Harris movement. This is from last week, 5 days ago. We speak at a perilous moment. Israel has attacked Iran. A war has erupted. Civilians are dying. The region is spiraling into chaos. And the world now stands on the brink of nuclear disaster. If only you knew. This is not just a regional conflict. It's a global crisis, and it threatens every one of us. In October 23, Muslim American leaders issued an ultimatum to President Joe Biden, call for the ceasefire in Gaza and end the genocide. He ignored us. We launched the Abandon Biden movement. When Biden dropped out, we issued the same demand to Vice President Harris. She ignored us too. And in August 2024, we rebranded as Abandon Harris. Why did they tell us this like we fucking care? We organized across every swing state. We moved voters, and we cost Kamala Harris the White House.
Very dubious claim. Very dubious claim.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Let that serve as a reminder. Our demands are not symbolic. Our movement is not hypothetical. When our red lines are crossed, we act. President Trump, Vice President Vance, you promised the American people to end an end to endless wars. You promised to put America first. You promised to stop funding genocide. Those were just your words today. Those promises are on the line. We have learned that Israel is pressuring the United States to enter this war. You must not comply. Do not enter this war. Bold. To do so would be a catastrophic betrayal, not only to your promises, but of the American people. It would cost trillions of dollars, trigger widespread economic collapse, and worst of all, lead to the deaths of untold numbers of innocents. We cannot afford another reckless military campaign. We cannot afford another war built on someone else's agenda. Let us be clear. If this administration leads the U.S. into this war, we will respond. Let's see how this will go. With the full strength of our movement. Yeah, that did great against the B-2 bombers, dumbass. Just as we did in 2024, we will mobilize in every battleground state to ensure you are held accountable at the ballot box in 2026 and beyond. But far beyond politics, the consequences of this war will be lasting and devastating. History will not forget who escalated it, and neither will we. We will not stand idle. We will not be silent. We will do everything in our power to stop this war before it begins. And that's from the Abandon Harris movement.
Good. That just goes to show how naive can you be?
Yeah.
I mean, come on. You know.
Go ahead, Jen. Hold on a second.
Come on.
I just want to say, when they were listing off their like history as a movement, it sounded like the B-roll villain in a One Punch Man episode, like hyping themselves up, like my village was attacked by a blah, 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 and I ate so many sandwiches I became sandwich. You know, it's just like the backstory for like what is ultimately like, who gives a fuck?
No one cared. No one cared about your thing. And honestly, the whole point of your thing didn't help this at all. So thanks.
Yeah, so it's like
you did a great job so far. Great job. Keep up the great work. You're really helping.
Great job making sure that the current pass we've come to was actually going to occur. You know,
thanks for cementing in the concrete.
Yeah.
You know?
Here is the leopards ate my face.
That's what I meant with my comment. How naive can you be? I mean, my goodness, really?
Yeah.
He lied. That's all he does is lie. He went to Dearborn, Michigan, and he talked to the imams and he talked to the people in the Muslim community, and they had a list of 5 things, and he said, "I'll do all 5." He lied about all 5 of them. What are y'all talking about? Of course he lied.
I mean, Trump's one of them. Trump's one of them people that could say 2 words and tell 4 lies in 1 sentence. I mean, every single time the man opens his fucking mouth, I mean, 50% of it might be true, but like not likely.
What are you talking about? This is not a lie.
That's so. I also want to congratulate the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Dan Raisin Kane, spectacular general, and all of the brilliant military minds involved in this attack. With all of that being said, this cannot continue. There will be either peace or there will be tragedy for Iran far greater than we have witnessed over the last 8 days. Remember, there are many targets
This
left.
is just a stream of consciousness.
Tonight's was the most.
No, he's reading. They would never trust him to like speak
No, but
extemporaneously
whoever
right
wrote
now.
this, I'm saying whoever wrote this, like this is like, I know he's reading off a teleprompter, but whoever wrote this, like,
It was probably Miller. It was probably him.
difficult of them all, by far, and perhaps the most lethal. But if peace does not come quickly, we will go after those other targets with precision, speed, and skill. Most of them can be taken out in a matter of minutes. There's no military in the world that could have done what we did tonight, not even close. There has never been a military that could do what took place just a little while ago. Tomorrow, General Kane, Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth will have a press conference at 8 a.m. at the Pentagon. And I want to just thank everybody, and in particular, God. I want to just say we love you, God, and we love our great military. Protect them. God bless the Middle East. God bless Israel, and God bless America. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Oh,
I mean, to the person in the chat who's asking, do I honestly think, or do we honestly think Kamala would have averted any of this? It's like, not necessarily. You know, speaking for myself, not necessarily, but I'll qualify that by saying, I think that her experience in foreign policy was substantially greater, and she probably would have considered the consequences more deeply than Trump did. And I don't think that anybody. I think that Trump is such a transactional guy that all he thinks about is, oh, I'm not popular anymore, so I need something to distract stuff from my waning popularity. And I don't think that that's where either Biden or Harris lie. But that's my own personal opinion. You can disagree with that. That's fine.
what I'd like to point out is that we'd be on a totally different track for the last 5-6 months. Just a totally different track. There'd be so much more stabilization everywhere, right? Israel probably would have never attacked Iran had Harris got elected. Just straight up. Just probably wouldn't have happened because there'd be so much like Trump is the wild card here, just letting everybody say we can do whatever the fuck we want.
Exactly. The
and I would also say,
Yep.
and I would also say that you know, on a personal level, I wouldn't be dealing with the fact that there's a administration in power in the United States of America who wants to take away my access to healthcare, and the access to healthcare that people like me depend on for their lives. I don't.
We're not talking domestic though. Don't steer it back domestic.
I know.
I
know. We're talking about domestic. We're talking about foreign policy. But I think that all of these things are peace in broad scope. And you know, it's frustrating to hear that an administration dedicated to terror, both domestically and internationally, is preferable to one not so dedicated. Just, I'm sorry, but I don't know how anyone can continue but the Democrats suck too, when it is absolutely demonstrable that the Democrats suck less. Okay, in both domestic and foreign policy than the MAGA outlook is, because the MAGA outlook is fundamentally, we don't give a shit about anybody but us and our buddies. That's the fundamental ruling proposition for these guys. They're like Putin. We don't care if you're in with the in crowd, we're cool. If you're out of the in crowd, you're fucked. That's the way it works.
Also, I see this a bit over here as well in sort of, well, places like, Clacton. It's so bad for us here, then it should be bad for everyone else as well. So we're going to just pull you all down as well. Might be bad for us, but we're going to make it just as bad for you as well. I see that as well.
That's an awesome way to govern, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, Jen.
Why not everybody hurt?
So before we get too far away from the things that Trump actually said, I want us all to take a moment to think about the actual things he fucking said. Because when he has that doofy, wall-eyed stare voice going on, he kind of lulls you into thinking that maybe with this line delivery, he's saying something substantial or something that at least is a coherent sentence. If you read word for word the captions, I don't know about y'all. It was,
it's gobbledygook
for the most part,
it's bullshit.
I didn't glean any new information from this other than fucking you know what I mean, right? It's a word salad of adjectives in the passive voice. It's an exercise in saying nothing.
I mean, to me, it shows he intends to bomb more targets. That this is just there's plenty more stuff we can bomb, and that's what's worrying. I mean, there's already missiles attacking Israel, so this hasn't stopped Iran at all.
All right, we got some reporting from Iran from Al Jazeera, so let's give that a listen real quick.
Okay.
And what the damage assessment is at this hour.
And the delay.
Well, actually, when it comes to the early reactions, we've got this statement from the Atomic Energy Organization of the country, and also another statement just came out a few minutes ago about this signs of contamination. They said that there is no sign of nuclear contamination as of date, according to their data. It's a statement that we heard from the Center for Nuclear Safety. Also, they said that there is no danger for people living in the nearby area. But speaking of a previous statement that we got from the Nuclear Energy or Atomic Energy Organization of the country, they confirmed that 3 nuclear sites, Natanz, Fordo, and Isfahan, were targeted by the airstrikes of quote-unquote enemy. And also they said that that's a quite clear contradiction of international law, in particular NPT. Iran is a signatory of which. And also they said that IAEA, the UN nuclear watchdog, should be criticized for its indifference and quote unquote even support as a result of which this recent strikes are taking place. And also they said that these sites, these places targeted, were under full inspection of IAEA, and that the national industry related to nuclear program of the country is not going to be stopped there. This is the very latest statement that we have from the Iranian side. We are still waiting. I am sure that it doesn't answer the very fundamental question that is out there, which is how Iran is going to react right now.
Indeed.
For that, we are waiting for further military and political statements coming out, as this recent statement looks to be more technical, but we can
Let me ask you
consider
about
this bigger context in which Iran is saying,
and you are right to say that
States decide to
Okay.
I just want to come in here and say that is something well worth bringing up that he touched on, the fact that you are striking nuclear sites that have nuclear material that could, in an explosion, just go wee and just go everywhere. You know, there is a large risk there of some serious nuclear contamination, and if that happens, that's not going to get sorted out like anytime soon.
There isn't.
I mean, we hope so. At least
It doesn't work like that.
I mean,
like it has to get it has to get super critical, right? So like they're bombing the centrifuges, which is like where they would like gather the stuff. So by we had landed on Tuesday to like break it all down. So even like touching the outsides of the centrifuges, the oil from your hand will unbalance it and ruin it. So by breaking all that stuff, and I think it's
but it won't destroy the uranium. That I think that's
pentahexafluoride or something like that. There's fluorine gas all up through that bitch, which they use with the uranium to put in the centrifuge. It's not just like yellow cake going in there. It goes in there with the fluorine gas. So the fluorine gas could be going out and stuff like that, which is also not good for the environment or people around it. But the risk of it, like, you know what I'm saying? Like the bombs going off early, it doesn't work like that. That's probably why they okayed it, because there isn't a risk of it detonating from being bombed.
There's not a risk of it detonating from being bombed, but it's probably not a Chernobyl-like event either. But the nuclear contamination, I don't think, is entirely off the table. Depending on how far it goes, but I'm no expert. I'm a
I mean,
seamstress.
they're underground. Go ahead, Jen.
I was just gonna say, like, depending on how much the bomb would disperse it, you could worry about the uranium, becoming aerosolized as a dust, and then traveling on winds from the updraft of being collapsed so suddenly. Yeah. There is still a risk there, but like if they say there's no contamination, then it's likely that it wasn't hit directly and like aerosolized in that way. But I don't know anything about like anything else. I just know that.
Well,
yeah, I think the risk of contamination is there, but
I would say check out the Tuesday stream, probably like the first half hour. Like we got charts and diagrams, the whole thing. It's nice. It's a nice little breakdown. And then if you guys are a patron, we have the full nuke talk that I had with Landon. God, that must have been almost 5 years ago. It was like right as soon as we made the Patreon, like a month later, he came on, and it's a 3.5 hour talk. Like neutron, literally neutron by neutron, what happens, the enrichment process, how it goes, how it gets critical, did the whole thing, the different kind of triggering mechanism, talked about that whole thing. That's on the Patreon. But if you want the quick version, look at the live stream from Tuesday, and we go over it in brief detail. It's 12:30. I got to go put this kid to bed. She is still up screaming.
Yeah.
And my wife is going to need a break.
12:30.
She's up screaming too.
Yeah.
It's 1:30. Oh, y'all.
Yeah, it's just it's just coming up to 6:30 in the morning in the UK.
It's
time for you to
it's different times.
Yeah. Any final thoughts from everybody? And then if not, I'm gonna get us on out of here. Hey, Regios. The late raid. Hey, thanks for the raid.
I think the only thing I would want to say to end on is like it's very easy for us to become numb and desensitized to how strange things are.
Yeah.
But we got to remember that this is not normal, and it has not been normal for a very long time. And we got to make sure that we don't fall into complacency or acceptance of how fucked everything is.
Yeah. I went to do a solo shot, and then you wrapped up. I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I would echo
going,
that.
but I think it's more poignant if I just end it there.
Here, we'll do it this way. Aha, Ali, final thoughts.
It's not much to add to that, honestly. Trump's a fucking asshole. What the fuck?
Trump's an asshole. What the fuck? Well said, Ollie. Final thoughts.
I sure didn't expect to be living this timeline in my golden years, but here we are. I just hope that people will do a little bit of studying of history and realize what kind of a moment we're living in right now. We have a choice as to whether to allow this kind of bullshit to continue, where we give consent to be governed by people who fundamentally wish to make the lives of not just our fellow citizens, but our fellow humans all over the planet worse because it suits their own prejudices. That seems a bad choice. And for the time that we have to exercise a choice, I think that we as a people in the United States should be making better choices.
I muted myself. Heard. Bowler Hat Man.
Yeah, the big thing about all this, the consequences. As the old saying goes, you F around, you find out. And yeah, we're gonna find out. Starmer, we've just heard, has already put UK bases in the region on high alert. Last time this sort of thing happened, Iran did strike at allied US bases. So, smart thing to do. There's already, I think, an emergency Cobra meeting going on here in the UK at the moment about this. I've said before, we should not get pulled into this. We should stay out of it. We should basically maintain our stance that we've been had throughout all this. That diplomacy works. Diplomacy is the best thing to do about this. When people talk, when people sit down around the table, you can get good outcomes, like the Iran nuclear deal that existed. But Trump went and ripped that up. So we've got to be careful now of the consequences of this, because one thing that Trump has sort of stated, that the bombing would maybe stop Iran from striking Israel. Well, they've already struck Israel just moments ago. This does not bring about an end to this conflict. This, if anything, only further escalates it.
Well said indeed. Well, thank you everyone for joining us for our quick half-hour stream. We're only going to talk for about half an hour about, just keep people abreast of what's going on. We're just going to do a quick 20, 30 minutes, call it a night. I am neglecting my family. So I want everyone to be safe. Drink lots of water.
Girl, baby girl. Oh,
I love Tesla.
I got the. I want you guys to hit the like button.
take it for me.
And hit the subscribe button. Push all that stuff. Take care of yourselves. Be safe. Stay informed. And we will see you later. We love you. Bye.